was just like, so what are we going to do? Like, this all just kind of fell apart, and we're just acting like everything's normal.
It made me wonder, like, I don't know what the fuck being a park ranger is all about. Maybe it's different in Joshua Tree. I have no idea.
I feel like that's like that's got to be one of the more intense versions of it. Like if you're like starting a video game and you get to pick your level of difficulty.
Yeah.
If you want to go like expert, it's like, all right, we're putting you in Joshua Tree.
Cool. Well, I'm Nick Jackson. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Nate Dionne.
Thanks for meeting me over here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I got all turned around this morning.
It's not that bad. It's pretty close. Where we were going to meet it seemed like, I don't know the city super well, but pretty close.
It's like from here, you didn't walk, did you?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's like a 5-minute drive, but probably be like, I don't know, half-hour walk, 40-minute walk.
Do you ever come up here?
Not too often.
Yeah.
I'm like a real kind of homebody.
Really?
Like, anywhere I move, I usually stick within like a 5-block radius of that place.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm trying to think where we should start. Let's start today instead of start like in the past.
Sure.
Isn't Yankee Bluff about to go on tour like super soon?
Yeah, in like 3 weeks, because tomorrow's the 1st, so we've got to really get our shit together. Because our van just got stolen, so we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do.
What's the story behind that?
I don't know. It was there and then it was gone.
In Philly?
Yeah, it was like right outside of our apartment. I was getting ready to go to a wedding with my girlfriend, and we like left the house to do some errands. And we were like, oh, there's the van. And we got back and we were like, van's still there. Nice. It's just something you see it and you don't think about it. We're upstairs for 2 hours. And we come downstairs and it's just gone. And I'm like calling Peter. And I'm like, hey, where'd you move the van? And he's like, I didn't move the van, dude. Use your eyes. And I'm like, I can't. He didn't actually say that. But I was like, it's not there. And then he had to come. The whole day was a total disaster. We both had to drop what we were doing. We missed the wedding. And him and I just talked to cops for a while, and they were like, well, we'll try and find it. And I was like, yeah, well, you're not going to find it.
Did you have gear in there?
Our bass player had his bass in there, but I think that was just like his kind of like beater bass.
Okay.
I think he didn't seem too upset. Peter's surfboard was in there, and that was a bummer, because those ain't cheap at all. And all the one thing I was really bummed about was like all the tapes we had. We amassed, like, him and I, between the two of us, we amassed like a really good cassette collection in that van. And there was like stuff I'd had for like a decade. Like some of the like first music. From some of the first like cassette tapes that ever like got me into like punk and stuff were in there. No more.
Do you get money back? How does it work with insurance and stuff?
I don't think we had theft. We had like the cheapest insurance plan we could get, because it was like, we're trying to be real easy come, easy go about it, because it was a van that Jade Tree had bought us when we were in Dogs on Acid. And but still, like, over the years we put a bunch of money into like repairs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had all these big dreams about like fucking tricking it out and like, getting awesome siding. It did have awesome purple tinted windows too, which, I didn't think was a necessity, but whenever we get a van again, I'm going to insist on tinted windows of some type. It's just that level of privacy. You can't beat it. It's great.
So a couple of weeks from now, you go on tour. You have to get a new van before then?
Yeah, I think we're just going to see if we can't cash in some favors. Because like when we had it, we would like sort of rent it out to our friends, just like $50 a day, something manageable. So hopefully, we can rely on the kindness of others. But I'm pretty confident we'll work something out.
And what's the tour look like? You're not coming out to me.
No, that'd be cool to do a really long one, but I don't think either of us have the time with like work and stuff. But I think the tour is it's like 10 days. It's but Doe is coming over from the UK. They're incredible. Dogs on Acid toured with them when we went over there. I'm very excited to see all them again. They're really great people, and their records are really great. So it works.
It's going to be like up to New York, down the coast.
Kinda. I think, what are we doing? It's New Jersey, New Hampshire, New York, all the new states. We're hitting them, except for New Mexico, I guess.
New England.
Yeah. And then we do Philly, Richmond, Greensboro, North Carolina, some weird place I've never been. I don't know if it's weird. I shouldn't call it weird. But this small town called Johnson City, Tennessee. I just could not find a Nashville show. I think it was it's a Monday, and that's a big music town, so I kind of get it. It's just, you can't.
What's it called?
A place called Johnson City, Tennessee.
I've played in Murfreesboro before, and that's like a big college town, and that was awesome.
I feel like I played a show in Murfreesboro when I was in high school.
There's a huge, I forget the college, but there's a huge, it's like one of those nowhere towns, but it has a university with tens of thousands of people, so that makes it have stuff going on. Well,
the way Johnson City was described to me, it was the similar thing. And it was there's this punk bar with a built-in crowd, and we can get you a show. And I was let's do that then, because I'm struggling.
And it's easier to go into you don't have to fuck with parking and the bullshit of going to a big city.
Right, yeah. New York's going to be that way. I always get tons of anxiety when I'm going to New York. It's just all the legwork I'm not used to.
I want to get up to the latest Yankee Bluff record, but now let's jump back in time. What was the first band you played in? That has some kind of MP3 or MySpace that
gotcha.
It doesn't have to be real, but that had something.
It was definitely this band called Foulmouth. And it was so I met my best friend Sam when I was, I want to say 14, and then through him I met his brother Phil, and his brother Phil was in this band, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, I'm trying to start a band. And he was like, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, cool. Oh man, I can't wait to. I don't think they had anything recorded, and then they needed a bass player, and I was just dropping hints as hard as I could that I wanted to be the bass player. I would just show up at their house. I would do this all the time, and I don't think they were crazy about it, but I would just show up at their house, not call or anything, with just I would just walk around the town we grew up in with an unplugged electric guitar, and I'd be playing it. I was just putting it out there, guys. I can play an instrument if you need it. And they're wow, this weirdo really wants to be in our band.
Could you play?
I was okay.
Okay. Did you take lessons or anything?
Yeah, I did take lessons. Most of the lessons were I got lessons from this almost perpetually hungover Hungarian man named Zolt, and he was look, depending on what you want to do, with your playing, I can either teach you all the scales, and I could teach you how to shred, or if you just want to learn the songs, if you just want to learn certain songs, I'll just teach you how to play them. And I was let's do both. So half the lesson would be a scale. Yeah. And then the other half I'd be
knocking on heaven's door. Yeah. That's what I assume every guitar lesson is.
Well, I had this deal with my dad. So he had this really cool electric guitar, but no amp. I don't know why he bought it. I think he thought he was going to play and just never got around to it. And then my uncle gave me his acoustic, and I was oh, I really want a practice amp or something. My dad at the time, rightfully, was very skeptical at how far I was going to take this.
Sure.
I'd already picked up and dropped a bunch of hobbies.
Yeah.
A 14-year-olds want to do.
It's buy me ice skates and hockey gear.
Yeah. Make this huge financial investment and rearrange your entire life so I can get cold feet in a month and be I don't want to do karate anymore. You're going to have to cancel those lessons, Dad. But no, I was yeah, I really want to practice him. And he was well, you're not getting a job anytime soon, and I don't want to buy this for you. So if you prove to me that you want to, play this instrument, I'll get you the amp. And I was how am I going to do that? And he was learn the acoustic guitar intro to Over the Hills and Far Away by Led Zeppelin. And I was okay, I hate that band right now, but I'll do it. And so half the lesson I was like, yeah, Zolt, teach me how to play Over the Hills and Far Away. And he was like, what a waste of both of our time. All right, let's do it. You don't know how to do this. And, yeah. And then I spent like, I want to say like a month and a half to 2 months of lessons, probably like trying to learn that song. And I finally, like, after dinner one night, I like sat down and I showed it to him. I was like, okay, here it is, like, bum da da bum bum bum, clankety clank clank clankety bum. It just sounded like terrible. And I was like, do I get it? And he was like, yeah, I guess.
Close enough.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, you did it. I don't think he thought I was gonna do it, but I did it. But
so then you finally like weirded these guys out enough to ask you to join.
Yeah, they were like, we do need a bass player. I don't know that I was their first choice, but and then it was lots of fun, and we were just like a scrappy pop punk band, and I don't think our music is on the internet anymore. I think we took it all down out of shame. But
did you have a MySpace?
Oh, we had the hell of a MySpace. Yeah. It was nobody could agree on how to use it. I thought it was a tool to make jokes, and a couple other people thought it was a promotional tool for a band.
It was like a serious.
Yeah.
Did you get band photos?
Oh, yeah. We had Sam. We had his younger brother. We had Sam take pictures of us in the parking lot of a Wawa that we would always hang out at. Nice. And it was great. Made a bunch of pins. Had CDs. We tracked a full length in a single day. We did everything on the full length in a single day and paid for it mostly in change that we got. When we were paying the dude at the very end of it, he was like, oh, what the fuck? You're paying in change? What the? I'm noticing now that I've kept a lot of the same patterns of behavior throughout my life.
When was the first time you were in a band that's like, I assume if you're just like the token bass player, you weren't really writing the songs or directing the band.
Oh, I made sure I was doing that.
Oh, really?
Even yeah, I really fucking stuck my hand all the way in that pie.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, the first song I ever like wrote like lyrics wise was for that band, and it was about watching TV and how there are too many reruns, and that was just trying to get a grasp on it. And then a bunch of the other songs that I wrote for that band were basically me rewriting Dillinger 4 songs.
Okay.
Just like whether or not I realized it. That's what I was doing.
Yeah. Why do you guys break up?
I think they were going to college, and I think we'd all kind of hit like a wall, just sort of with like what we wanted to do with the band.
Yeah.
So I think it just sort of ended. There were no hard feelings or anything that I can remember.
Yeah.
Just kind of stopped.
I mean, even back then, did you have the idea that like you were gonna
like be in a band?
Yeah, like
all the
play
time?
full time, like go tour and like.
Yeah, that was always the.
Oh, really?
I was like once I started doing it, I was like, shit, this is what I want to do. And then when I went to my first, like I would go to like we would have shows at this place called the Sober Club in our town, and it was basically the same 5 bands in our high school playing every weekend, and our band would always open because nobody liked it. Foul Mouth would always open.
Were you guys good?
No, we were really bad. Towards the end, we got better, but in the beginning, definitely like I couldn't sing, I could barely play. I don't think anybody had any grasp of what our amps were supposed to sound like, or like what a guitar tone was.
And it's hard to mix levels. At least I remember that being like a huge thing where it's like it almost felt impossible.
Yeah, it was like it seemed so outside. It was so outside of my like world of knowledge, and we were so disliked in our high school that no one wanted to like teach us how to do it.
Yeah,
like I remember it was like, so like we would play, and then it'd be like four like Hawthorne Heights sounding screamo bands that all had names like sentences, like. Waiting for a Rescue was one. I was actually still friends with some of those guys, but they were an insanely popular band in high school.
Yeah, sometimes after the leaves fall.
Yeah, a lack of respect, or no, what was it? With all due respect.
That's
with all due respect was one. A lack thereof, I think, was another one. Caught Yesterday.
What year was this? Like 2000?
Mid-aughts.
Yeah,
like I want to say like
2002 or 3.
I think 2004 was when I played my first show when I was a freshman in high school. So this was around then. And then in like 2006, I went to like my first like house show. And then I was like, oh shit. There's like something even more under the surface than...
Yeah, like it's cooler.
Yeah, it gets better. Oh my God, it gets better.
So how'd that happen after the first one?
After the first
like
house
after,
show?
No, after the first band. What was...
Oh, then I was in a band called Every Monster Truck Ever with my friend Chris Thomas. And that was when I was going through my I want to sound like Latterman phase.
Okay.
And so I was trying really hard to sound like Latterman. And fun fact about that band was a lot of fun to be in. But fun fact about that band was Arthur Rizek recorded our EP. And he is now in this incredibly great metal band called Summerlands.
Okay.
Summerland or Summerlands? I can't remember. It's one of the two, but they're awesome. And he also is like this like incredibly prolific and really respected like metal engineer in like the noise and like metal hardcore community. He like him and his brother did an excellent job recording both the Power Trip records. And if you're into like thrash metal, I don't know if he did it in Philly. I think the first one was in Philly. I don't know where the other one was, but that guy was great. He was like a really formative person in my high school years. He would like take me to record stores and stuff.
Your age?
No, he was a senior when I was a freshman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess back then there's so few people that you can kind of connect with on that the few people, it's like, whoa, okay, this is like, It feels like you're the only people in the world that know about this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like being a little club.
Yeah.
And then
just especially before stuff like this or any way of like sharing or like knowing that other people like you exist.
Yeah.
I remember feeling like that when I was in high school.
Oh, definitely. That's a super real thing. Just like feeling very like isolated. Definitely like me and the guys in Foulmouth. We were all like we get it.
Yeah.
which is a maybe it's a silly way to think, but when you're that young and you don't know that it, you don't know what's out there.
Did the next band take off too either, or it's kind of floundered?
No, it just kind of, we like stuck around. I think we did a like quote unquote tour. It was just, we played in our hometown. Then we played in Pittsburgh, which was my first show out of the Lehigh Valley. That show we played with Death's Arc, which was a surprise.
Wow.
And that was really cool. And then we played a show in Columbus, and then we just drove back. And I was like, oh yeah, tour. I'm going to go on tour all the time. And I think around then I'd met John. I don't know if I was in Street Smart by that point or not. That was another band that I just like, I saw them once, like fell in love with them, and just sort of like hung around and bugged them. Like their bass player left. I was like, this is my chance. I'm going to get into this band somehow.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And I just hung around and like constantly just was saying like, yeah, I know all your songs. I know how to play your sons. And they're like, okay, that's fine.
You had learned them like listening to the music?
Yeah, I just learned how to play them. And I was like, yeah, I figured them out. If, if you need a bass player, which I know you do, I'm always here. And Ross and John were like, yeah, you can do it. And then the other three guys in the band were like, who's this 15-year-old kid who like really wants, maybe I was 16. I don't know. But they were like, this dude is.
How much younger are you than them?
4 years.
Okay.
Which when you're
no, that's a big deal.
Yeah, when you're like 20 or 21, like if I now, or if I was 20 or 21 and some 14, 16-year-old was like, let me be in your band, I'd be like, I don't know, why would I do that?
You feel weird.
Yeah.
You feel like a weird, like, I don't want to be your dad.
Yeah, like I don't want to have to look out for you or like make sure you don't get too drunk somewhere.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think I just sort of tried to make it work.
Yeah.
Like that was like, I'm just going to like figure it out as I go.
So you weren't really friends with them before?
we were like friendly, but no, it wasn't like
Because of the age.
Yeah, it was like, well, I knew the one guitar player, Kevin, because he was from Easton, and he was in a bunch of cool like screamo hardcore bands that I really liked, and so yeah, I was like hanging out with him a lot, and he kind of got me in the door on that. Oh wait, sorry,
It's okay.
Peter just got back to me. Peter wants you to know that he doesn't like the boss, Bruce Springsteen. We get into a lot of arguments about that. He just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
How deep into the Street Smart were they when you joined? Were you on any of the recordings?
You can hear me clapping and doing some gang vocals on the 3-song EP.
Okay.
And because I just hitched a ride with Kevin the one day when he was going. I was like, oh, I want to go to recording. I was like, all right, come along. So I went, and it was great. I had such a band crush on all of them. I thought they were also, I still think they're all really cool people. And they're all, I think almost everyone except John Geeding is still doing like great stuff in music that was in that band. Even Brad, the first bass player, he's actually in Summerlands with Arthur Rizek. And so everyone's doing great stuff still. But yeah, and then we did 2 songs recorded after that I played bass on. And that was it. That was all I was on for that band.
What was it like watching them break up? Were you like enough of a member to like be a part of it?
Yeah, at that point I was like pretty in the decision making process.
Okay.
Like I think it was Ross and I, Ross, John, and I were all hanging out, and we found out that this tour that Ross had booked just wasn't going to happen. And then John was like, why don't you guys just quit the band and make it not a band anymore? And Ross and I looked at each other and we were like, we should do that.
Yeah.
We should take him up on this offer.
And how quickly after that were conversations about starting a new band?
Like that night.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like that night, and I was like, oh, let's start a new band. But before that, like while that was happening, I was, so I think I'd graduated high school. By this point, it was like the summer before I was leaving for college. And my brother had gotten a drum set that he wasn't doing anything with. So I just, I had this weird night job at an envelope sorting factory for a health insurance company. Weird. And I really hated it. And I just learned drums, kind of. I kind of learned drums. And then my friend Dave, who was in Foulmouth, and my friend Chris, who's in Every Monster Truck Ever, we started a band called Hightide Hotel. And we did like a 5-song EP, 5-song, 4-song, I can't remember, and a split 7-inch. And so that was kind of like overlapping both Street Smart and
in between
Snowing. And I just was a terrible drummer is like the long and short of it. I didn't have a sense of time.
I mean, that's hard to pick it up in that. You can't pick it up in that quick.
No, like in 3 months? Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. I was out of my mind. I basically like practiced really hard to learn like 3 different drum parts. And then that was all I could do. Kind of.
Every part is that. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember distinctly after one show, my friend came up to me and was like, do you know what beats per measure is? And I was like, oh, Jesus. And I was like, I'm that bad. And he was like, yeah, dude. You like cannot keep time. And I was like, oh. Well, I was like trying to be determined about it. And then we were at practice in Philly, and I couldn't really practice anymore because I was in college. And I just had like this nervous breakdown, and I like threw a tantrum like a little child, and like knocked the whole drum kit over. I was like, I can't play drums. And they were all like, all right, dude, then quit the band. What's wrong with you? And then I did, and they went on to like make much better music once I left, which is good for them.
What was starting Snowing like? How were those first like songs written and stuff?
I think they were just written with like Ross and I playing guitar together. John was really adamant about not playing bass. I think Ross and I knew that he was always going to play bass.
Because you didn't want a whole extra human to deal with? Like, that's a lot once it's like...
Yeah, I think he just wanted it... I think he just didn't want to have a bass player in the band. And then once we started figuring out what the songs were going to be and what they were going to sound like I had a bunch of parts and we just kind of strung them all together into songs. Sometimes I would go with like, oh, I have a whole song written. And John would be like, kind of. And then we would like sit down and work it all. Yeah, rearrange everything. So he really like just, definitely working with him and Ross and JR on those early songs really taught me a lot about how to sort of cohesively write a song.
Who are you trying to sound like your guitar playing back then? Because you went from like being a bass player and then...
Yeah, I just wanted to be really good at guitar and play all the notes at once. Like Joe Reinhardt was a huge influence on me, like watching all the Algernon stuff, because I met them when I was like 17.
Okay.
And I was like completely blown away.
In alternate tunings.
Yeah, I was just like, that's a great idea. My friend Johnny Price, who is in every monster truck ever, him and I really got along because we were both like bass players who also wanted to be, really good guitar players. I will say he's probably better at guitar than I am. That's not hard to do, but he definitely, I think we like started writing that Snowing song that would become Sam Rudich together, but it didn't turn into anything. And I was like, I'm going to keep my part for that and like bring it along. And he kind of begrudgingly was like, oh, okay. And I was like, sorry, I'm just gonna do this. Yeah, I guess I wanted to sound like someone who is really good at guitar and in an emo band. Yeah. That was it.
I'm trying to think what I thought was cool back then. Everything I thought was cool was still very much like Fugazi based, which I think sounds like old, like was outdated by that point.
There's something really like inscrutable about their guitar playing. I always thought like there are certain types of bands. Do you ever feel this way growing up where there are certain types of bands and you're like, you think like, oh, I want to learn how to play that song, and you sit down and try and listen to it and like figure out how to play it, and you're like, I don't know what they're doing at all.
Yeah.
Like
it's studio based too, I think. Certain sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
you can't really recreate it.
Yeah, it's like layered guitar parts where it's like, I think all that is just a power chord, but it's done so perfect that it sounds more than that.
Yeah. Or just like different types of I remember once I tried to get Zolt to try and teach me how to play a Q and Not You song. And he was like, we're not doing this. I don't know what these guys are doing. Like, it doesn't sound like they're playing any guitar I've ever heard before.
I was obsessed with it because they did this thing where they'd, the little bit of strings
such a
above
cool,
where it's,
such a cool look.
I tried to do that. Just like, what if it was like, and I must have done that 10 different times.
I did that so much in Snowing. I thought it looked so cool.
It sounds cool.
Yeah. I think I probably did it too much. Like someone should have tapped me on the shoulder and been like, "You're doing that string thing too much." But
did you feel like this is gonna be like a thing?
Like playing
when you started Snowing by that point?
I definitely really hoped it to be. I mean, we were definitely just doing it to like hang out with each other, but everyone in a band wants to be in like a well-liked band. That's just, I think that's
some people are more ambitious though than others. That's
very true. I'm not super ambitious. I'm kind of lazy. So I'm like, if it happens, that's great, and I would love that. If it doesn't happen though, I understand because I'm lazy. Yeah. And so there's no one to blame but myself.
Like what? Like what do you think you're not willing to do?
I don't know, doing the, like pursuing a label or like trying to make it, playing what is referred to as the game, like doing the DIY support tour circuit, where you're just like opening for bigger bands than you for a while until like you get to be the bigger band and you get to have a smaller band open for you.
Did you guys have opportunities like that you didn't take?
We found out that was a thing sort of in the middle of us being a band. I still know nothing at this point about what it really takes to be in like a working band.
Yeah.
I have a somewhat of an idea, but I don't know anything. I'm like incredibly arrogant, probably like not the nicest person to talk to.
You're like 21.
Yeah. I'm like 21 at this point. I'm a shitty 21-year-old.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to say it.
It's like, I made this, so obviously you should care because I made it. I mean, I care about it.
Yeah.
Of course you will.
Yeah. Just, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was my attitude.
Yeah. I'm 30 years old now, and I'm just feel like I'm learning, like, it has to be something that's not just that.
Yeah.
In anything I do. It's like, oh, yeah. So you learn about it, but you don't...
It seemed unattractive.
Yeah.
It seemed like an area that I did not want to invest my efforts in, like taking it that level, like that seriously.
Did you feel like you could playing that kind of music back then?
Do I like feel like I could
Like have pushed it harder?
Yeah, I think we could have, but it was just so stressful. And I don't...
What do you mean?
Just setting shit up. I mean, John and Ross did all the booking in that band. And I could tell they were getting really burnt out on it. And I was kind of unwilling to pick up that torch and be like, I'll do it. I'll help book some of these shows, at least in that band. And, sorry, I'm trying to think of what to say. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think any of us wanted to take it to that level or knew how.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you want to keep going? Do you remember like when it's kind of fizzling out?
No, I really wanted it to. Wanted it to be over.
Because you were sick of the music, or you were just sick of...
A little bit of both. I don't really think I knew what I wanted, and I felt really trapped, and I think everybody felt a little just confused. And I was like, well, if we're just going to like, I don't know, if we can't figure it out, we should stop. Or if I can't figure it out, we should stop. I don't know. But it was a bummer. Like I was upset about it, but
It ended?
yeah, but I also knew that it, you know.
Did you feel back then that like, well, people like this?
Like, when it was starting?
Or when it was happening?
When it was happening? No, I don't think I really got to appreciate that until like it was over.
Okay. I can see how that would happen.
Yeah. Like when we did that tour with Algernon in 94, I just figured all the people were there to see Algernon in 94. I was like, this is just like kind of a lucky break for us that we get to tour with our
That's
really good friends, and they happen to be in A, a band that I love, and B,
a draw.
yeah, a huge draw. Both those bands were like, I don't know, really big influences on me. Chris Deem's guitar playing was a really big influence on me. But yeah, no, I didn't appreciate that until it was over.
Yeah. So what does the like post snowing like Nate feel like? Like, what are you doing then? Are you in school?
Yeah, I was in school this whole time, which was another really frustrating thing.
Yeah.
Because I sort of found out halfway through that I didn't want to be in school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you finish?
I did finish.
Wow.
Like kicking and screaming, I finished. But yeah, the last snowing show was my first show with Glocca Mora. We played first.
How did you get into them? It's interesting. You have the same story. You're really right.
Yeah. Yeah. So we went on tour with them. I met Zach, Schwartz, like Snowing played a show with Glocca Mora up in the Poconos somewhere at a friend Dave Nicholas's parents' house, I think. And I was blown away by them. And I was like, you guys are incredible. And once again, just kind of was like, oh, you know, it's my band's ending. I guess maybe I'll need another band soon. And Zach and I were talking about starting a band. And I think it came up because he wanted to do a Weaker Than's cover set for his birthday.
Oh, cool.
And he wanted an extra guitar player. And I was like, I'll do it. And so I was just like, played with everyone in Glocca Mora for this Weaker Than's cover set.
Do you remember how many songs did you play? What did you play?
Oh, we played way too many songs. I think we played like 8 songs, 9 songs.
What happened to that band? It seemed like they were only getting more popular and successful and then stopped.
I don't follow them super closely, but I know that John K. Sampson died. Samson. He still does stuff.
Okay, I thought you
Yeah.
said he died for a second. I was like, holy shit! What the
I certainly hope not. That would be horrible.
Did Glocca have a second guitarist originally? Like, did you replace somebody?
Originally, and then I think he got kicked out.
Okay.
And then they put out this incredible EP called Professional Confessional. No, I'm sorry. It's called Cool Intentions. Professional Confessional was the first song on it. And I joined, I think, right after that.
Okay.
And yeah, just kind of like kept at it. Like, just like sort of like the same pattern of behavior that.
Was that band well received? It's so fucked up looking at it now because I don't understand like what people like how like the internet changes history makes things like really complicated. Like you were talking about 94 and Algernon. In hindsight, I mean, I don't know. It's just like how people think about the bands is much different now.
Absolutely,
than what it was at the time.
I think we were.
Okay.
I don't know.
Did you feel like that?
I felt really great doing it.
Oh.
Like I really loved our songs, and I really loved what I was like playing, and I had a really great time hanging out with them, and they really got me in check. Like they really like checked a bunch of my like shittier behavior, and which was a really good thing to feel because it was like going into it like.
What do you mean, like shitty behavior?
Just like being mean, like being a jerk. Like sometimes I'm a real jerk. Like it's something I'm always trying to check myself on. And I think it's like I had such a chip on my shoulder because I was always the young guy. And I always felt like I had to prove myself and I had to really like puff my chest up if I'm going to like fucking survive around people. Because Lehigh Valley, a lot of the people in the DIY scene there, in a fun way, but they're jerks. And when you're like, I don't know, when you're feeling down and someone says the wrong thing to you in the wrong way, it like, you know, you grin and bear it and suck it through your teeth, but like.
Yeah, that was also kind of like an archetype in the early aughts, I think, when we were coming up a little bit in a way that's like, there's much more a feeling that I get, like, everybody be nice, kind of. Whereas back then it seemed like the cool alpha person was kind of a.
Oh, yeah, the dumb, toxic masculinity,
kind of thing. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. What you're saying?
Yeah, it just seemed like how I had to be to like, not to sound lame, but like to survive.
Yeah.
But it was completely unnecessary, and so that was one of the cool things about being in Glocca. Were
you writing some of those songs? You're on like the big full length, right?
No. I'm not.
No?
No, they recorded that. It's funny in the liner notes, it has, like on the thanks thing, Zach wrote something that was like, thanks to Nate Dionne for getting us to play these songs live. I don't remember having that conversation with him, but I'm glad I did. But, I'm on that 10-inch EP, An Obscure Moonlighting an Obscure World.
Okay.
Which, Peter Helmis recorded. He recorded that entire thing. He did a great job. And
where at?
Big Mama's, the like big warehouse studio. It's like right around the corner from where we might have had this if I had been on time. But yeah, and that was a lot of fun. But again, just kind of lost steam.
The whole band.
I think Zach and I both wanted to move in really different directions musically. But I think, when was it? This is around the time, well, we did another huge tour, like the year after Snowing did that like 4-week tour with Algernon and them. Glocca does another full US tour with our friends Kite Party.
What is that, like 2009?
This was 2012 because I just graduated by this point.
Much later. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. 2011 was the Snowing Algernon tour. 12 was the Glocca Kite Party tour.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I was getting really burnt out and I didn't want to admit it to myself. And I just kept going and going and going. And around that time, we got back from that tour, and I moved in with my girlfriend because I found out my landlord was a con artist, and had taken me and a bunch of other people for like a bunch of money. So I got back from that tour with like no money, no job, no place to live. And I was like, Lauren, can I please move in with you? And she was like, yeah, of course. I would love that. And I was like, oh, great. And that turned out to be one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because
awesome.
We're still living together now.
Were you losing money being a part of the band?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw any money.
But you were actively like losing money. Like, did you have to put money into the tour? Like when it's like, okay, let's fill up for gas. Does it everybody chip in $10?
No, I don't think it ever got
that bad.
That bad. Maybe once or twice. That's kind of foggy. But no, I think we were always able to sustain it. We had Sam Rudish as a merch person, and he is an incredible merch person. He's just a total salesman, just like doing his like clarion call behind the merch, like,
Cotton
get your
t-shirts.
records, get your tapes, get your records. And at first it was just a joke, but it works. That shit works. If you just sit there and you stare at your phone, no one wants to buy shit from you. But if you're like gregarious and like fucking funny, people give you money.
Yeah, some people are scared.
Yeah.
Especially a band like that, maybe high schoolers that don't have much. Like, I'm scared to talk to the people with tattoos, and you know what I mean? Like, they want to. I remember being 14 at my first shows and scared to talk to the cool guys that. Yeah.
I went to a Blood Brothers show and I really wanted to buy a hoodie, and I had to give my friend money because the merch person looked so standoffish and intimidating, and I was like, they're gonna be mean to me. I was like, how old was I? I think I was like 16 or 17 when that happened. But
that's a great example of like a band that cultivated, not that it's their fault, but that just cultivated a vibe of like a scary kind of dude that we were kind of talking about. That's a great example of like an early.
All those grindcore bands seemed incredibly intimidating to me. I was like, wow, y'all are fucking either super hard or just out of this world. I don't know.
Yeah, he's okay, Brian. I think he's chilled out.
Oh yeah.
At first, I thought maybe he'd get electrocuted if he bit into it, but I don't think he would.
Not you. What's the cat's name? Pooter?
Pooter.
That's an awesome name for a cat. This looks like a very chill cat.
He's really sweet. I've never seen John's cat and Pooter. Both are the nicest cats I've ever seen.
That's true.
Yeah, John's cat, I was sitting in a sofa and for like 2 hours he just sat. And you know how cats will knead on you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just sat and kneaded on my chest.
Wait, did you go to his house at...
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Which cat was it?
It kind of looked like this.
Jordy? That's Jordy LaForge.
Yeah.
That's Sam's cat. Melissa and John found that cat like in the rain sitting on like a fence in North Philadelphia.
Yeah, he has a cute little bit out of his ear. Where
and they brought it home. And then we found out she was pregnant. Yeah. And then we got like all those other great cats.
It's funny. I think cats must know. Well, obviously they know if they're pregnant, but they must somehow feel like, okay, I used to be able to live on the street. I'm pregnant. I got a family now. I need to like find a human.
I got to do this.
Yeah. And it's like they kind of trick humans into taking them on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you feel like, so you're like burnt out on a band, you're moving in with a girlfriend. Do you feel like, I don't know, maybe I should just get a fucking job and just not like do this shit
not anymore? Yet. Not yet. I'm still like, no, I'm fucking going for it. Because we had like also gotten really into doing, this is when we start playing the game. And we like get like a booking agent and like a PR person.
Wait, who's we?
Glocca.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is before you broke up.
Yeah. And we like try that for a year. And it just became very clear that it was just a necessity, kind of.
Having that support structure.
Yeah. Like we just, like who we were and like what we needed, it just made sense to do. And
even by then, 2012, the scene and stuff had already, it was different than even when Snowing was a band.
Yeah.
I think opportunities were available all of a sudden that maybe weren't necessarily for Snowing.
Yeah, no, and I think like it was weird how like after that band that like after Snowing, it like meant something that to a certain degree, like there was a small level of clout that I got, and like I could suddenly like hop on a show like, oh, it's like, it's got members from Snowing.
Yeah, Zach, in parentheses, that's on the flyer. Yeah.
Like Zach and the guys from Glocca, understandably, were not crazy about that because they're like, "What the fuck? We've been a band for like 5 years already by this point. Like suddenly, you jump in and it's X snowing." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah,
it wasn't my idea."
But I mean, yeah, it helps though. It's like if that gets somebody to listen, I can see how that's annoying though.
Yeah, I see both sides of it.
Yeah.
On one hand, I was like, I mean, I don't know. It's not completely my fault. And on the other hand, I'm like, I totally agree. I don't understand why you guys let me join the band.
Was Dogs on Acid the next band you were in after that?
No, then I was in a band called... Actually, at this point, at one point I was in 3 bands that were all taking themselves, like, and what we were doing, like, pretty seriously and, like, trying to tour. And that was terrible. That was, like, not good for me.
Yeah,
they were all great bands, and, like, I'm really proud of everything I did during that period. This was around, like, 2013, I want to say.
Not that long. Well, I guess now it is a long time.
Yeah, now it's long ago. Now, at this point, I've been out of college longer than I was in college, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But, yeah, I was in Glocca, this band Gunk, and Dogs on Acid. And we had some days I was doing 3 band practices a day.
Were you working a job?
I was like bar backing, and I was like a door guy at this show, this venue in North Philly. I really didn't like being the door guy, but I just kind of stuck to bar backing and service industry work, and now I'm waiter and a server at this restaurant.
Yeah.
And
to be able to have flexibility, it's like...
That was the whole vibe. I was like, I can take off whenever. Like, it's good money for the work.
Yeah.
It was just easy. Like, it just made sense.
It's impossible to find a fucking balance of like some kind of situation that you can live like a human and have money and then also have time that's not just...
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that's really
figured it out.
Yeah, I don't have anybody where like, okay, I'll follow this person's path and do it like them. Everybody just seems like this is a shittier... like you're doing something different than me, but it's shitty in just a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's always different problems.
Yeah.
Like the grass is greener, but it's got fire ants in it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It seemed like Dogs on Acid won though, out of all those 3 bands, or like you kept doing it longer or something.
I think that was the band that went at it the hardest.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, not touring wise, but like putting ourselves out there and like, we're gonna
really do it.
Yeah. This is like, hey, everyone, we're a band. Everybody. Just like announcing it to the world. Like we got on like Jade Tree and they like did a bunch of PR for this record.
What did that look like? So Peter was one of the first musical guests on my show, and I just called him. But it was hard to talk because it's just like, I've never met you. We're on the phone. You know, it's very different than like what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's just funny now and like jump cut 2.5 or 3 years forward or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, that band felt the shortest, but I think we spent a year just writing those songs, I think. And then another year recording them.
How did you how did you decide on sounding like that? Because it's a different like vibe.
That just happened.
Yeah.
Like it was just like Peter had ideas, Joe had ideas. I think none of us really wanted to
be shouty.
Like, yeah, like get a sound down. We just wanted to like really work on songs that we liked and thought were catchy. And definitely wrote the hell out of that record. Just like rewriting parts, like rewriting everything. Like you think you have the song done, you think you have it demoed, and then you go back and you like change something like, this bridge goes on for like half a measure too long. Let's go back and do it again. And that got kind of exhausting, honestly.
Did you make the record before connecting with Jade Tree or after? Like,
I think they were happening at the same time. Everything was done very messily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we just a lot of things overlapped with each other. And then I was playing bass in Dogs on Acid and bass in Gunk. And by comparison, like the way Gunk definitely operated unlike any other band I've ever been in. And in that it was just me and two people that I like didn't know too well would end up becoming like incredibly close friends of mine. Just like sitting in our drummer Dan's huge warehouse, like recording studio, and playing until like 5 a.m. and just like, but we could record everything for free. So we would just record as we were playing and just turn that into songs after the fact and like not really worry about it.
That's cool.
That's
a fun thing to do.
Yeah. And so like that was just like fucking throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And Dogs on Acid was more like you fucking get a map and you just like, or actually just a big blank piece of paper. And it's like, all right, we're going to draw this really detailed map of everything that's going on.
You guys, the Dogs on Acid stuff you wrote together.
Yeah. That was all like, Peter definitely had like riffs and songs. So a couple of the songs he just had written and they were perfect. And we really didn't need to change anything. And then a couple of them we really like pulled out of thin air.
So you get the record. I remember you went on a big tour. You were you made it to San Diego. I remember that. I missed it like by 2 days. Like I never saw it, which was a bummer.
We did. We toured a lot, just not with Joe, which was a bummer, but he just had too many commitments with like his
recording.
Studio and Hop Along, and he had to leave, which was sad, but I understand. And then we did a whole bunch of touring. We went to the UK for 14 days. That was lots of fun. A lot of people were really shocked that we were on that one island for 14 days. They were like, 14 shows? I remember talking to this one person. They were like, it's really weird that you're here for 2 weeks. And I was like, how come? And they were like, well, it's like doing 2 weeks in Pennsylvania. And I was like, oh, man.
More people, though.
Sure, yeah. And
how did that get set up?
I don't know. Someone got an email.
Okay.
Most of the way things get set up now, I feel like it's just someone gets an email.
Yeah.
But I think we like reached out to someone or someone reached out to us and we went over there. And then we did like 2 weeks East Coast and the South with our friends Year of Glad when we got back. And then we had a week off and we just drove straight out to California. Like
fuck the Midwest.
Yeah, we just drove straight out. And we were like, we left on Sunday night and we were like, all right, our show's on Tuesday night. And everyone drove straight, like 8 hour. We had 2 8-hour shifts each. So you would drive for 8 hours and then you would be co-pilot for 8 hours and then you would, sleep the rest of the time. And that was gnarly. But it was a fucking awesome tour. Went all the way up to Vancouver and then fucking drove back in 2 days. And
did you feel like things were going well? Like the record was, like the reception was, like were things like feel like they were moving?
It felt good. I'll say that. I was having a ton of fun. I think at this point I'm like 25 or 26, I think. It was like 2 years ago maybe. And I definitely feel just like much better. Like, I don't know. Like, I'd shed a lot of that angsty, or I'd like to think that I'd shed a lot of that angsty, like really negative behavior.
Yeah.
That I didn't really, realize I was engaging in.
Then what happens? To me, like, I'll just tell you for me, like, I loved the record. I pushed it. I was like,
thank you very much.
And then it just felt like I was like, oh, well, this band's obviously going to have a even better second record,
And it all just fell apart.
And then it just, not even that, I was like, wait, what? It was like gone.
Yeah, it just disappeared. We found out, I think, like right before the West Coast tour that J-Tree wasn't going to repress our record. And we were like, that's weird, because you guys just put a lot of money into it and into us, but that sucks. So, and then we found out that they were going under, and we were like, okay, well, that makes sense why you can't do this record, or why you're not going to even repress it. And then we were trying to write a second one. I think we had almost all of it demoed. And one day Nick was just like, so what are we going to do? Like, this all just kind of fell apart, and we're just acting like everything's normal. And I was like, yep, everything's normal. We're just going to keep on doing it, and it's going to be harder to do now.
Without the label?
Yeah.
Somebody else? I mean, you have this great sounding record when it's...
I think we were just like, let's just be easy come, easy go about it. Like, let's just move on to the next thing. Like, I don't think Peter and I really like getting caught up and like, I don't know, forcing it, I guess. Like, if it comes naturally, that's great.
Yeah.
But we were like, let's just, and we had all had a really bad experience, like at this point, just like working with that and being so let down and disappointed that they weren't going to repress it.
Like, you had a lot of eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what happens to the actual
what happens to the music?
Yeah.
I think Epitaph owns it now. We definitely don't own it. That's for sure.
So you just have no, wow.
Yeah. It's just not a thing anymore.
Is it even up on like a Bandcamp or any?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's up. I don't know what happens. I like try not to think about it just because I feel very powerless.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. And then Nick, I mean, at the time I was incredibly upset when he quit the band because I was just like, it was the first time when he quit the band, it was the first time since I'd been 16 that I wasn't in a band. And I remember I went into work and I was just so like crestfallen. And my boss was like, "Did you and your girlfriend break up?" And I was like, "No, I'm not in a band anymore."
My band broke up.
And he was like, "Oh, dude, chill the fuck out. You need to bust some tables. Like, what are you doing?" And it just felt weird. Like, I felt like I didn't know. It was weird how much of my identity was, and still is, like, being in a band.
I get that 100%. I understand that, yeah.
Like, I don't know what I would do. And I was just like, yeah, I was just totally crestfallen.
Well, it's like when you're working on a project, you're like, well, I won't speak for you, but it's like, well, maybe I don't have that much money. Maybe like certain things aren't working out. Maybe like I can't move where I want to move or whatever. But I have this secret. It's like you're almost like Superman, where you're like,
absolutely.
But then like there's some times where I go into the booth and I rip off the shirt and I become this other thing, and like these other people, they see me like this doing this stupid thing. They don't know that I really, I'm this real other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
it's empowering, and it helps you. It helps you push through when your boss is yelling at you, or when like you're freaked out that you can't pay rent or whatever.
Absolutely.
Like,
No, it's like this. And I think like, no, it's everything you just said. And I think not having that really, brought me back down to earth, because it gave me a sense of like entitlement.
Yeah,
for sure. Like this feeling of like power.
Yeah.
And I think I got, I just got drunk on it, and I was just in like a fucking emo band that like some people liked.
I felt that way, where it's like I thought I was Superman, but I think I'm just really just a 26-year-old that's working at Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Am I really just this person?
Yeah.
I can't quit smoking. I can't have money. I can't.
Right.
I don't know how to do anything. It's like I think I'm a loser. I didn't realize it, but I'm not saying that for you. But I understand.
Dude,
I understand that.
That is absolutely how I felt, and Lauren would be like, "Dude, you're gonna be fine. Just like keep doing it. Just keep doing what you always do, and keep doing it." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then Peter was like, "Yeah, come on, we have new band practice." I was like, "Oh, thank God. Okay, cool."
What did you do with that batch of songs that you said was going to be the next Dogs on Acid Record?
We tossed almost all of them except for one, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you didn't like them, or it's just like, well, there's no
Just felt
reason.
easier. Just felt easier to be like, well, fuck those songs. Let's write all new ones. And yeah, we've been doing that band Yankee Bluff for the past. We started it in May of last year. So, and we're just about to put out our third EP. And I don't know, really happy with everything. Like the way it's all going.
A new EP, like when's that coming out?
Hopefully it's got to be done next week so we can send it out. Because we're just going to put all 3 EPs on one tape. And it's just going to be one 18-song tape.
Oh, cool.
We're just going to beta band it.
For the tour?
Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
How is the second thing? Seems kind of pretty different than the first.
Yeah.
Is the third thing going to be?
Oh,
like
totally. There's no actual drums on it, just because we had a bunch of songs with drum machines on them.
Yeah.
And
Who is or what is Yankee?
It's just Peter and I. Well, not just Peter and I, but it's Peter and I. We write the songs, and then once we figure out what the song's going to be, we bring in other people to like play drums and stuff.
What's tour going to look like?
Tour's going to be full band. It always sounds way different. Not way different than the recordings, but just like, I don't know. I like to think it's a bit more like crazy horsey. I really like the phrase crazy horsey. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, kind of by necessity louder. We don't really have the gear to recreate a bunch of the studio shit we did. So we're like, it's just going to be more of a rock band type feel. But I'm really into it. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like consciously swimming upstream in certain ways.
Cool.
Do you think that, like, your idea with the band?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It definitely, like, I feel like both of us, I don't know that either of us know what's in store for us other than we're just going to keep writing. And I think we're just going to focus on that instead of getting, I don't know, trapped in the touring circuit game. It's not the best way to financially be in a band.
Touring? Or this way?
Just, the way we're doing it right now, where it's just like, let's just write and record, and we'll play shows when we want
makes
to.
Sense, though, or like cultivate a big enough thing so when you do choose to do it, it can be a little
self-sustaining a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe our mistake with Dogs was like jumping right out of the gate and like expecting it to be easy and it really not being easy.
Yeah, it seems hard unless you're really willing to be like, well, let's not really even have a lease on an apartment. Let's not really have a job. Like, this will be, the next 18 months. We'll just kind of, when we get back to Philly, we'll live on somebody's sofa or go back to mom's house, or like if you do it that way, maybe. But yeah,
I don't think
that's a shitty way to live.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. There's other areas of my life I'd like to invest my efforts in than touring that much.
Yeah.
And like promoting a record that much, I think.
Do you still feel like hungry for
like being in a band?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think that's ever going to go away. Melissa and I always joke that we're both going to be in the same CCR bar rock cover band when we're like in our 40s. And Lauren always says like, I can't imagine what you would be like without a band.
Yeah. But I mean, hungry in so much that like I'm going to try to figure out how to do something for a release show and how to, like really.
Oh, like, I want it to be. Yeah, I want to make it, like, I want to work hard at making something that I'm proud of. So I'm hungry in that aspect of it. Like, I want to listen to it, like, 2 years from now and be like, all right, cool.
Huh.
Like, nice. I still feel good about this. That doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's a great feeling. Yeah. Because it just feels like a good investment of your time and energy.
Do you care at all about doing like a glocca tour, a snowing tour, whatever, something like that?
Like a reunion thing?
Yeah, or like this is 2 songs. This is, whatever.
I'm not super interested in that.
Yeah.
I would much rather just get a beer with all of them or something like that.
Because it just feels like not moving forward.
Yeah, I think that would feel a little stagnant. Like, it would be great to get everybody together and hang out again. And maybe jam or something like that. But no, I don't know that I would want to do like a reunion tour. That would seem, the conditions of that would have to be like incredibly perfect.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to. I don't know. Maybe I'm dead. We both, I feel like we began this. We were like, man, rough.
Well, dude, it's hard being number one party guy. It's not easy.
Are you going right back to sleep after this?
No, I'm gonna go drop off my boss's car. Then I'm gonna probably just shower off last night, and then my sister's in town, so we're gonna go out to dinner,
Rad.
and that's gonna be nice.
Well, do you think I missed something important? I feel like we got lots of stuff down.
Yeah,
That was
that was fun.
Comprehensive.
Yeah, we went through a lot pretty fast.
Yeah, dude,
That was good.
Thanks for coming over, man. That was
Dude,
awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, bye.
Giving myself time, enjoy success I see, only feeling time through movement could make you shoot the world a dirty look. You take a hard pass, you let your past life laugh. It's nice how you push off any personal responsibility and stay personable. Man, your intuition is a vending machine. Someone gives you something but they never receive any goods, only phenomenal fees. I should open you up, but what would that change be? I shouldn't talk like this, as if I've got a grip. But would you rather have a life that might let you down, or one deep like the ocean but not profound? Man, your intuition is a vending machine. Someone gives you something but they never receive any goods, only phenomenal fees. I should open